Today on The Real Fan Review, we go over some of the news from D23 and some of the movie news for the week. Welcome to The Real Fan Review. What's going on, podcasters and YouTubers? This is Hav here, one of your hosts for The Real Fan Review. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be going over some of the news from D23 and also some of the crazy and unfortunate movie news that we got this week. But yeah, womp womp, exactly. So for today, man, we got the crew, the old set of four all back today. We got my brother B.
Wagwan.
Rah, rah. We got my boy Sanj.
Afternoon, everyone. As always, it's a pleasure to be with you.
And we got our man in the chair, Al, here.
How's it going, everybody?
And we got a nice special guest today. It looks like every once in a while we get somebody to come into the host. To come co-host with us. And we got Nina.
Hey everyone, happy to be here.
There you go.
She made the long trip from upstairs.
Yeah, Nina, man. It's good to have you on the podcast. Usually we see Nina when we walk in, say hello, and then she's gone. She's doing all the mommy stuff and taking care of things before the week starts.
So Nina actually owns the studio.
Exactly. So she needs to be on the podcast there. Nina, one of the things we always ask our, anybody that comes onto the podcast for the first time is try to get like their movie takes and everything. What are like some of the, I guess, your three favorite movies that you like to see or you could watch over and over again? What are three movies there for you?
Yes. Okay. My first one, Dirty Dancing from the 80s.
So cute. I love it.
That movie. Even as a kid, I didn't know what was going on, but I just loved the dancing part of it.
To this day, I still sing Hungry Eyes in my car. So, yes.
Have you ever had someone do the lift on you?
I've tried to do the lift, and it's just like, I tried to do it. I remember trying to do it with Brandon.
Oh, God. Did we win the contest?
We did not win.
And now he's just a little too chunky for it.
I remember the days in the river. Balancing on trees.
What's your second favorite movie there?
And then second, I love Bridesmaids.
Oh, yeah. We just
funny,
actually talked about that on our comedy podcast there. And your third?
And then the third, I had to tie Black Panther and then Adventures in Babysitting, another 80s movie.
Wow, Adventures in Babysitting. Black Panther, definitely. That actually was one of our like top movies when we did our I'm bringing back all the podcasts here.
In case you haven't listened.
Our top 64 movies there. That's awesome, man. And then what would you say, like, your movie style? Like, do you go to movies a lot or just it has to be like a special event for you to go kind of thing?
Yeah, it has to be a special event, something if I really want to see it. Otherwise, I just wait to see it.
I got you.
In the comfort of my own home.
That's awesome. And then the last question we ask any guests coming in is that we had this top 64 thing, and we all ended up in a tie with either Dark Knight and what was the other movie?
Schindler's List.
Schindler's List. How can I forget that one? So, yeah. So, I mean, if you had to choose between those two movies there, what would you say would be your favorite out of those two, Dark Knight and Schindler's List?
I said Dark Knight, but only because I haven't seen Schindler's List.
So,
sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, you said you hadn't seen it all the way through.
Yeah, I did say that, but I don't really remember it. Sorry. I know it's a really good movie. I'll watch it later.
Listen,
in the week.
We had the opposite answer from Alex. So it was like, she's like, oh, I love Schindler's List. And I'm like, what about The Dark Knight? Yeah, crickets. Yeah. She's like, yeah, don't watch that. Oh man, that's crazy. But it's great to have you on the podcast. Love to hear your take on some of these things. So just to kind of get into some of the stuff really quick, one of the unfortunate news that we heard this week is that Spider-Man has been taken out of the MCU.
I died a little bit when I heard this news.
I didn't want to believe it, man.
I didn't want to believe it either. I got to think that this is posturing between the two companies.
Got to be.
Because Brandon, you were saying that it looks like Disney wants a 50-50 cut.
Yeah.
Now from the 70-30.
They won 50-50, and considering we started at what was 95.5 with 100% merchandising.
Right. The original deal was 95.5% on financing of the film.
With Sony getting 95, right?
Right. Sony gets the 95. What Marvel kept was full rights to merchandising. They also had full rights to, I think it was something else that they did. Any kind of like things that came out of the movie, they pretty much got. Oh, it was first cut of the movie sales, so they got some money off of some whatever the movie made in the theaters. Right. They got some of that. They didn't get anything of the DVDs or nothing like that, but in the movie theaters they got money back from that too. But I don't know, man. When I heard the news, I don't know about you, Al, but did you feel like it was more towards like a Marvel kind of thing or like a Sony thing? Because it seemed like the whole internet went after Sony for this, right?
Yeah, no, everybody was targeting Sony only because their past history with the Spider-Man franchise. Right. I mean, monetarily they've done well with the franchise. I mean, between Spider-Verse and Venom recently doing well box office wise, but not exception of Spider-Verse. Venom wasn't really well received. Right. Like, and then even if you go to the original trilogy, 2 and 3 fell off as each movie was being made. Like, gotcha. 2 wasn't as good as 3, depending on who you talk to, but 3 definitely destroyed the trilogy. Right. So to me, and I think we were just discussing this offline, I actually kind of side with Marvel in this because I understand it's Sony's property, but Marvel's doing a much better job with it. Yeah, and I mean, every time they put Spider-Man out there, his sales went up. So if it's the analogy of like, it may be yours, but if you're not doing the right thing with it, and I'm helping make all the money, I shouldn't just get 5%.
Right. I hear you.
Now, 50-50.
It's crazy.
That's
tough. That's tough, man.
I think that's a hard ask so that they can fall back to what they really were willing to accept.
Right. Wouldn't you like Sanj, you're more like business minded than a lot of us in here, right? So with them originally doing 95.5 and then now of course shooting for the 50-50, I think it's just more like, it's almost disrespectful, but I think it's more of them just trying to get them to go higher on what they do come back with, right? Because it's like all part of like, what do they call it there when you're doing this
negotiation?
All part of the negotiation process.
This is the part of the negotiating process you call posturing.
Right.
Everybody makes a big statement, or one side will make a big statement or a big claim, or throw down a gauntlet of some sort, which I think is what Disney and Marvel did here. It's like throw down a big gauntlet and say 50-50.
And they put it out there too.
And they put it out there. So, and they're making the negotiations very public as well. Like generally, you try to negotiate in good faith, and when you're negotiating in good faith, you keep the negotiations private, right?
Absolutely,
So that even if behind closed doors you have your voices raised a little bit, or you have a little bit of acrimony behind closed doors, once a deal is made, everyone can come out smiling, shaking hands, making it look like, hey, this was all good from the start. By doing this, I agree with Al. Marvel does a much better job with the Spider-Man stories and the movies and the cinematography. Top to bottom, Marvel knows what they're doing. And coincidentally, there's a leaked email of the Sony CEO admitting that, saying basically that exact thing, saying, well, Marvel knows exactly what they're doing with this stuff, so it makes sense that they should be doing the movies. Right? So that gives Disney and Marvel a lot of negotiating leverage, right? However, from a business standpoint, I would more side with Sony because we had a deal in place that we were going to renegotiate. That was working great, and we said we were going to renegotiate this after 5 movies, right? Mm-hmm. Now, we're in the process of renegotiating it. Even if you sent us an offer and we haven't responded to you yet, there's no timeline for responding to you. Right, there's nothing set in stone that I have to respond to you in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is, right? If you want some sort of response, if you want to see where I'm at with it, follow up with me and say, hey, I sent you that deal, or I sent you that email, or I sent you this, whatever. Where are you at with it? Right. Marvel here is what they're doing is just coming out and just blowing it all up. To me, they're the ones blowing up the deal. So I agree with Al that Marvel should be making the movies. However they want to split up the money. Listen, they own the property. I'm making the movies. I don't know how much money Sony's putting up, but if let's say Sony's putting up all the money and all the resources, Marvel can't come in and Disney can't come in and say, well, we want 50%.
Right, that's what they're trying to do.
We can say, All right.
They were offering 50% of financing. That's what it was.
Financing?
No, they're-
Okay.
But because they're offering 50% of financing,
Well, that's
they
well,
want
that's
50%
different. If
of
I'm
the
coming
cut.
to the table with 50%, and you're coming to the table with 50%, then we should be split in everything. But what I'm saying is that I would more side with Sony in the negotiation process because they have not. Marvel's the one blowing up the
deal
the
right
deal
now.
at this point.
What do you think will actually take it? Do you think that, like, I can understand Marvel wanting to make some more money. This last Spider-Man movie just made $1 billion, right? So they're seeing how much money this thing is making. So it's like, I can see you want more than 5%, but I think 50% is just ridiculous.
I think they'll settle somewhere around 25% to be quite
right,
to be quite honest.
20%.
Because if their initial offer was for 70-30,
Yeah.
and that was supposed to be the big grandiose whatever,
Right.
It'll probably get done for 25%.
Yeah.
With Marvel putting up somewhere between 25 to 50% of the money.
Yeah, we'll see what happens then. Now, Brandon, man, if this deal doesn't get worked out, man, are you still comfortable seeing Spider-Man without the MCU backing and MCU stories?
I mean, we'll always see it, just like we saw both Amazing Spider-Mans and they were terrible. We'll see it anyway. It's just gonna be hard to see what they do with the story, given what we're gonna be losing. With losing the Marvel end of this, you lose basically everything of what Spider-Man was in this new reboot. So where do you go from? Basically the whole Mysterio plot makes no sense at this point because he was an associate of Tony Stark, who now can't even say his word. No. You can't even say his name in these movies now.
And the cliffhanger they left us on just now.
Yeah.
What happens? Yeah.
You can go off of that in that way without relating to the last story, but if you don't relate, which this whole third movie was supposed to be Peter becoming Peter.
Gotcha.
And stepping out of that Tony Stark kind of shadow. Mm-hmm. Well, where do we go now story-wise? You're going to be kind of almost rebooting Spider-Man again for the fourth time to be doing this. With Tom Holland, but it's almost doing it again.
Gotcha.
So I feel like you just lose too much, especially what they're kind of laying the groundwork in the MCU to have with Spider-Man and the stories creating from Spider-Man. Just to suddenly say this guy doesn't even exist anymore. It does
both ends, right?
For both ends,
it's not going to work out right. Yeah.
So remember we were having a discussion at the end of Phase 3 here, where we hadn't heard any news about when the next Spider-Man movie was going to be done, and we didn't even see any plans for Spider-Man in Phase 4, right?
Yeah.
So, and we were wondering why. Marvel had this planned. Disney and Marvel had this planned. They have a plan.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be doing anything. The story's going to move forward right now in a way that Spider-Man wouldn't have been involved in anyway.
I get you.
Right?
I get you.
So this gives them, how long is a phase? About 3 years?
Yeah, 3.
Right?
3 years, yeah.
Let's give them 3 years to figure it out. I would say within 3 years, they will figure out something to be done. I mean, look, they figured it out before, right?
Right.
They'll figure it out again because before the deal was between Sony and Marvel. Marvel just got bought by Disney. Now Disney's coming in and putting their stamp on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
but could part of the rush be, because I think part of the negotiation or the redo was bringing everything into the MCU. I mean, even to the point of bringing Venom and so forth. Could it be that, okay, fine, Spider-Man's not getting his own independent movie for maybe 3 years, but they wanted him to do cameos in other movies? Because remember, they were building him up to be Iron Man's replacement.
Yeah. That might have been
what
that's the only
forced their
monkey
hand.
wrench. That's the only monkey wrench I see there. That he was really the heir apparent.
Yeah.
They were really making Spider-Man out to be the heir apparent. But if we look at what they're really doing with Phase 4 anyway, it looks like it's out in space and out somewhere else in the galaxy, or
right,
so,
which has nothing to do.
Which
with
had
staying,
nothing to do.
Yeah, staying home and stuff.
So again, the story can survive for 3 years.
Yeah.
It's when they come back to Earth or for the next big convergence, right?
Yeah.
Spider-Man needs to be there for the next convergence.
We hope, man. I got my fingers crossed there, man. Nina, by any chance, were you ever into like Spider-Man? Did you ever watch I know you like Black Panther.
I haven't seen all of them, and I did like the one with Miles Morales.
The Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse.
Really liked that just because it was so different.
Absolutely.
But yeah, otherwise, I haven't seen all of them.
Yeah.
To be honest.
No problem. But no, it's okay.
Don't hurt me.
now, listen.
Eject button.
Now, listen. Before we.
Careful, she'll eject us.
Yeah, right. It's her studio, man.
Double reject button.
Now, before we started the podcast, we were making jokes about what the Spider-Man movie would be called. I came up with Spider-Man Home Wrecked because of this deal. Al came up with a pretty good one there. What was yours?
Spider-Man homeless.
Al wins. Al wins the day.
Oh man! And like I said, there was a crazy week in news.
I just get
Go for it.
a visual of Spider-Man with the little hobo pack. You know, like the stick with the Tide bundle.
He's got the mask on, his thumb sticking out for a taxi.
Hulk pushed him out of the way because that's my thing.
Oh man! So listen, man. That's what the news is for Spider-Man right now. We got our hopes up, but hopefully, like San said, we have some time before the next Spider-Man. Anything happens, whether he's in another movie or he gets his own movie, we got at least 2-3 years.
There's plenty of time.
There's time. There's time.
I think before this year is done.
And they know that everybody wants this done, you know, and to
That's
leave
why
it
they
the
did
way
it
it is. Exactly. I think that's the reason why we all heard about it, is because of that. Just kind of like maybe force the issue for this to happen for one side, but hopefully they'll both renegotiate this deal and come out, you know, together on this, man. Another thing that came out with dealing with Spider-Man is that I guess they're following the lead of Endgame there. They're re-releasing Spider-Man. I think this week coming up, they're really releasing Spider-Man Far From Home with an extra 4 minutes.
Necessary, huh? Super necessary.
Listen, as much as we all said we were going to go see Endgame re-released,
I don't know about this one.
I don't think not one of us went.
It's just the scene with him stopping a crime and talking to the cops. Like, we already know what the scene is. I'm good. Like,
I'm going to wait for the home release on that one.
Yeah. But that's what happened with Endgame too. We're like, we can wait for the home release because then we can like play it over, dissect it, you know.
Absolutely, man. Now, this one I wanted to come to Sanj first on this, man. I heard, so I know Sanj is a Bond fan.
Bond, yes.
And you know one of his favorite actors was the original Bond.
Yes, Money Penny.
So listen, they just named the new Bond movie that's coming out called No Time to Die. Now, usually we can't read too much into a title, but for a title, not bad.
I think it's a great title.
Right.
I feel like Bond always has the best titles.
Yeah.
Look, they're all
I mean, Octopussy comes to mind.
The other one.
Spectre. There's so many great titles. You know them.
Octopussy and that one. The one that came out recently. And Octopussy was great.
Nah. But
My favorite character other than Bond is Pussy Galore.
And then there was the other one.
Oh my god.
Bond.
You know what's funny, man? Every time I think of James Bond, I either think of GoldenEye because of the video game that came out a long time ago that everybody played.
That was a great video
Dude,
game.
everybody was. I tried to go back and play it, and it looks so horrible. It's like
No, but for
everyone's
the
a triangle.
time, but for the time, it was.
for
it
the time it was amazing.
Yeah.
Kid.
I love that triangle pistol.
That was the multi-shooter that everybody would play.
Dude, I remember the Ford N64 controllers, everybody playing that. And then the other thing I remember is the villain that threw the hat.
Oh yeah. Like the
Oh, that was the
little
cheat.
guy, right?
Yeah, that was the cheat.
The cheat? That's the
Yeah.
thing. He would throw
Well,
the
no,
hat.
that was the cheat. Like if you wanted to cheat, you would pick him as your character because he was shorter than the others.
Oh, okay. Oh man, so that came out in news. Real quick, looks like Fast and Furious 9 keeps adding more people. They just added Michael Rooker.
Michael Rooker.
Yondu was in the Fast and Furious 9.
So I want him to play Yondu in like however he played that character,
Yeah.
like the same way he talked. He may have been your father, but I'm your daddy. You know, like I want him to be just like that in Fast and Furious. Like he needs to like play Vin Diesel's dad, or Dominic Toretto's dad. Like so and so may be your father, but I'm your daddy, Dom. You know, I'm your family. You know.
Oh my god.
Like, I need him to do that.
I got you. Now look, I know my wife's been here for the Fast and Furious podcast. I have a feeling like most of the girls that we know are into Fast and Furious. Are you, Nina, into Fast and Furious?
Not really.
Not at all. All
But
right.
you went
I've
to the
seen some.
went to the movies to see with me to see them. You know.
But I haven't seen all of them.
No. But
I
just
really
do you like them? Any of
Tokyo
them?
Drift.
Oh.
I don't know why I like
Now,
that one.
what specific? No,
Which brand of tires?
Hold on.
That's crazy, man. So, all right, Tokyo Drift out of the Fast and Furious. That's yours.
Yeah.
I mean,
All right.
how many times have you been told that you look like Michelle Rodriguez?
Oh, many times.
Oh,
By Sanjay. Tonight.
The first time only.
Oh my goodness, man, that's awesome. And let's see. So we got that's in the news this week. There was so much news last week. We couldn't find news,
Dead news.
Yeah.
Nothing but news this week.
and this week
Get
is
it.
just things kept coming out.
Last
Now,
week we were like crackheads fiending for.
so give me something.
Is that fan art? Is that real?
Or for,
I'm itchy.
or for those of you that used to watch Oz on HBO, I need tits.
All right, now this next thing in news was a huge deal for me, and it's gonna be a huge deal for Al. So we're gonna talk to Al first on this one. Al, Matrix 4 has been confirmed. Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss is confirmed.
Yeah, I thought it's another one of those news that when comes out, you think it's a joke. Like I thought people were just going crazy on Twitter, like with nonsense.
Uh-huh.
And then next thing I know, the updates start coming on the front of my phone, like now
Right.
Matrix Fit 4 and everything, and it was like legit news organizations were coming up on the update. I was like, oh shoot, this is real.
Yeah.
Then and then without a pause, I just started
You're like,
thinking
this is not the Onion.
yeah. Like, of course, I'm just going with how and where, what time. Like, just how can they bring it back with them two?
Exactly.
Like, with them
And
two.
not
Okay,
Lawrence
fine, Matrix.
Fishburne.
Right.
No.
The guy
well,
who survived the movie.
the only one to live. But apparently, it's going to have a Morpheus. It just won't be Lawrence Fishburne.
They said younger Morpheus, right?
Yeah,
So Michael B.
again,
Jordan.
yeah, but how do you do it? See, that's the only thing. I don't like when they do
TV
this. And, and that was the part that scared me the most of this.
Hot
Is
take.
I hope they don't do the timeline thing with this because.
Well, I mean, they did the Anti-Matrix, which had the 9 different movies of 9 different Matrixes. Maybe these two characters find themselves in another Matrix.
Another Matrix?
That'd be
Somehow.
insane.
I mean, with Neo's powers, the way the last one ended, maybe he found his way
Like,
into another Matrix.
unless this is the first Matrix.
Ooh. And
Because
the,
to your
the first
point-
possibility of the one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right,
Like,
because this had been done 6 times according to
Yeah.
the what was his name, the architect.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I'm looking forward to this. Sanj, man, anything on for you for Matrix?
The same thing that I was echoing. Like, I want to. How are they bringing them back? What's the story like? Because
Exactly.
they both of them supposedly died at the end of the movie, so I want to see what they do with it. I don't want it to be somewhere in between. I don't want it to be a movie that happens somewhere in between Matrix 1 and Matrix 3. But I like the idea of it being like the first Matrix or something like
Yeah.
that. Or
I hope they keep go back to the original movie and bring that
greeniness.
energy. Yeah, that
Yeah.
energy back.
Yeah.
Don't go
Yeah.
with I hope they don't do like the third one. You know,
Yeah, because the
just
second one was pretty good. I like the second one of the Matrix
Yeah.
there. So, all right, man. So I mean, that's what we got so far in the movie news this week, and we're gonna talk about D23. But first, before we get to D23, we're called the Real Fan Review, so we review some films here and there. Nina, by any chance you get a chance to see any movies this week?
Well, we saw Angel Has Fallen.
Oh, really? Okay. That's
Was
the
it last night?
yeah, yesterday,
Yeah,
last
yeah.
night.
Gerard Butler.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now listen, in that movie, that's a third movie of 3 movies, of course, right? And did you need to see the first 2 to see those movies, or did they kind of catch you up to speed or things on that?
I didn't even know. Actually, to be honest, I didn't even know that was the third movie until someone told me right before I was going, and I was like, "Oh, cool."
That
whatever.
someone was me.
I like Gerard. Butler. It wasn't you. It was Max.
No, I told you
It
because
wasn't you, dear.
okay, sweetheart, fine.
Oh my. All right, so this is. Was it you, man? What did you think of the movie? Like,
I
was
did
it?
like it. Yeah, I liked it. I
You-
mean, we were saying some parts were predictable, but there was a few parts where like, oh, we didn't realize that was gonna happen. But I did like it.
Yeah,
But
you
now
did-
I want to go back and see the other 2.
Right.
And see, you know.
Yeah, the first one is the Olympus is falling,
Olympus
right?
is
And then
falling,
the
then-
second one was London is falling. So
Oh, okay.
definitely, yeah, they should all be out there and for streaming stuff. Because I wanted to see the first two. I saw Olympus is falling, but I have no recollection of the movie. I want to see those two before I see it again. This next one here. San, since you saw the movie with the wife there. What'd you think? Did you need to see the first two movies?
You
to see
definitely did not need to see the first two movies
Okay.
for this movie to make any sense.
All right.
It stands alone by itself as a really good movie, really good action movie on its own. Before I get into it, was there anything that caught you by surprise? Like you said, there was a lot of it was predictable, but
Not a lot of it, but
or some of it was
some of it
predictable,
was,
but like,
yeah.
was there any part that caught you by surprise?
do we say
We do
exactly
give
what-
spoilers.
We
here.
do, but you
Yeah.
say spoiler
We have to
after.
say it
So-
first. And
so
then
you-
say spoiler
yeah,
after.
our way of
so
doing
no one
spoilers-
who's seen the movie
Yeah,
completely
is that-
doesn't want to see the movie
Right.
anymore.
So you'll say it, and then afterward you say spoiler alert. We don't care.
Oh, well, remember that one character, the FBI character,
Yeah,
how she got killed.
yeah. Okay.
That was like, oh shoot.
Now, question.
I was surprised about that.
From what I've heard about the movie is there's a reveal at the end that is supposed to not be like it's supposed to be a reveal, but it was supposedly pretty predictable. That was one
Yeah.
of the knocks on the movie that
Yeah.
they had.
Yeah.
Is that
Because
okay.
halfway through the movie, she was asking me, "Who do you think it is?" Right?
Yes,
Oh,
right.
And
okay.
we were actually both right. She said one character, and I said the other character,
Right.
another character, and we were both right because those two characters were working
They were
together.
working
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, but it was fairly obvious.
Yeah.
Right.
What I will say about it, very entertaining, very realistic as far as how the stunts went off and how the action went off and everything. When from the trailers you see that he meets up with his dad and
Nick Nolte, right?
Nick Nolte.
Always
Nick Nolte.
plays a guy.
Yeah.
I could not believe that was Nick Nolte. I didn't even know that was him until like the credits. And his name was the last. I was like, Nick Nolte was in this movie? Oh, he was the old ass dad.
But I mean, Nick Nolte's performance in the
But yeah,
movie,
he was really
awesome, just
Yeah.
awesome. He brought a dimension to the movie. Without him, the movie struggles
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit without him.
All
To
right.
me, maybe it wouldn't if you didn't know that he would be in it and he wasn't there. You'd be like, it's still a good movie.
Right.
But now that you saw him in it, he brought a dimension to the movie that was awesome. Morgan Freeman, of
Of
course.
course.
He plays the president.
He's either God or president, man.
I'm with it. I'm with it. What'd you think of Morgan? I mean, he didn't have a lot in the movie, but what did you think of his?
No, I liked him as the president. I thought he was really good. But he was kind of old, though. Don't you think he's old?
Yeah, but I mean, presidents, have generally been old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like maybe. it's
My
a
thing
little
is, I
bit
would
too
if
old.
I
But
would
still
not.
love him.
I think you guys spoke last episode about the movies you would want to live in. This is not the movie I would want to live in because theoretically, well, no, technically, actually, Morgan Freeman is playing the same president in all three movies. So even if he's elected, you're talking about 3 assassination attempts in 8 years.
They don't like him.
Hell's wrong with the country in that world.
He's doing something right.
Yeah.
Oh my god! All right, so Nina, everybody has their own way of like judging these movies. Would you recommend this movie to be seen? Like, what's
Yeah.
your kind of scale
Yeah,
of?
I recommend it.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
So
And-
generally, Hov's scale of Hov has simplified the scale of movies, right? Rating movies to say don't see, wait to see it at home, or go to the theater to see it. So using that rating system, what would you say?
I would say go to the theater just because like with all the extra parts, it's cool. It's cool to see that like on a big screen.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great. And for Sanj, for you,
I
man.
would agree for the same reasons.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Awesome. And did you guys, any of you guys catch any other movies during the week?
Yeah, so this was a big week for me as far as movies. I remember I told y'all last week that I was going to be ambitious.
Oh, ambitious. Yeah. You listed like 4 movies.
did.
You listed like 3, and then you was like, okay, I'll go see that one too.
Yeah, I did. So I only saw one of the movies.
Okay.
That I told you that I was going to see just because I didn't get to see the
Which
other
one was that?
I went and saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, okay. Now you gotta let me know how that is because I heard it's a little long, but it's good.
I was caught off guard by how long it was because I actually went one day before work, so I figured a 2-hour movie, right? And then I'm like, wait, this movie has a whole nother hour, and I'm just like, okay. Luckily, I planned myself so I wasn't late to work or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was a little caught off guard by the length, but the movie's a slow build, but it's worth the payoff.
Oh,
And I'm not going to spoil it in any other way. That's all I'm going to say about it. Excellent movie, Excellent
Wow.
dialogue is what you expect from a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Right.
Leo was incredible. Brad Pitt was incredible. Good writing.
Yeah. Interesting.
Really interesting because it's
Yeah.
a take on, you know, it roughly follows the Sharon Tate murder.
Right.
And it takes you right to that point. Yeah, but the payoff, you might think it's a little slow on the build up, but the payoff is worth it.
Oh man, so you definitely recommend to see this thing.
Your opinion, is that Bruce Lee scene really that insulting?
Yes.
It is?
Wow. Okay, so now I definitely have to see why.
Yes. even if it's a flashback in that guy's mind, it was
Because that's what some people have been trying to justify, that it's him remembering to fight his way.
I can
So
understand
that's why
the
he
fact,
had himself
yeah,
winning.
I can understand that justification of it, but the scene was totally unnecessary. The scene did nothing for the movie. So it didn't even need to happen.
I got you.
You know, and the fact that that character is not even a real person. If the character was a real person, I would think differently. The character's not a real person.
Gotcha.
So
you kind of like left this with this image of Bruce Lee that's not real.
yeah, I would want to ask Quentin Tarantino, like, why would you want to cast that light on Bruce Lee?
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
For no reason at all.
Yeah.
Maybe
Ow.
for like
Oh.
shock value sort of.
Okay.
No, go
Yeah.
for it.
Because isn't he known for that?
Yeah.
Right.
But
He likes
I would
doing
need a little
something
bit
like
more than shock value. He's got to have a little bit more explanation than that because his movies are pretty deep. So like as
Yeah.
a storyteller, you can give me a little bit more than just.
But he's also been known for like changing history a little bit. Like look what he did with Inglourious Bastards with the whole story there. You know, he kind of manipulated certain parts or certain aspects of history just to make that movie work a little bit.
Right.
But we all accept it because it's Quentin Tarantino. It's his take and style to do these types of movies there. But this one went a little step too far.
I mean, to be fair, Bruce Lee's a hero of mine. So
I got you.
yeah.
All right.
It could just be him. Just like he could have just had an idea and like, hey, wouldn't it be cool to see Bruce Lee get his ass kicked?
Right.
Which we've never seen Bruce Lee get his ass kicked, right?
Yeah.
And that could be what he was thinking. But Bruce Lee's one of my heroes for reasons other than martial arts. So
Right.
there's that. So I was willing to give it a chance to see it before I make any type of determination. But yeah, no.
No.
But otherwise, I still said the movie was incredible.
All right,
Right?
that's something to take from it, man. So definitely one of those things. I want another movie added on to the list.
Yeah.
Al, man, how about you, man? Any movies in the last few weeks there for you? Get to
Well,
catch
as you guys,
anything?
well, as you guys know, my family was going through a tough time for the last couple weeks.
Absolutely, man. I'm glad to have you here today,
yeah,
man.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So we weren't really in the movie mood, but the last couple days, you know, we were kind of trying to bring ourselves out of the funk. So we watched The Hustle. It was like I'm still getting the DVDs through Netflix. So I've
You
had
and me
it-
both, brother.
So I had
Me
that.
three.
Yeah.
So I had
Well,
that.
it's Netflix.
Freaking millennial.
I know, man. They ruin everything, man.
DVD.
Yeah. So we had the Blu-ray there for a while. So we threw it in yesterday to check it out, and it's one of those comedies that you just laugh because it's like.
Far fetched.
Yeah, it's like out there. It's like crazy, but
Rebel Wilson. That's why.
you know what? I like Rebel Wilson, but she's got to come up with a new gimmick.
Other than being fat Amy.
New
That's what I'm
Hassan
saying,
word right
yeah.
here. A new
Yeah.
shtick.
Because the whole I'm big, that it's getting a little tiring.
I hear you, man. It's like kind of like what we said about what's the other the comedian? What's her name? She was in the kitchen. The actress.
Oh, McCarthy.
Yeah.
McCarthy.
Yeah, we were saying the same thing for her, but look, she changed it up.
Yeah, she changed
She's
it up.
doing drama now.
Yeah,
She's doing
yeah.
serious movies, so that's awesome for her, man.
Before you go on,
Yeah,
Hoff,
go for
I
it.
didn't get to say but it still was an ambitious week for movies. So I did see The Hustle. I saw Ma, which was the
How
horror
was
with.
that?
I heard that's
Octavia
pretty
Spencer.
good, actually.
It is.
I heard she
really,
plays the role
really good.
well.
And a lot of times with the villain, you're either you're like, oh, she's a villain, and you're rooting against the protagonist or whatever.
Yeah.
You can see yourself rooting for her
Oh wow.
in this because
Rotten ass kids.
I won't spoil that part of
Okay.
it, but she plays the part very, very well,
Yeah.
and there was a lot of shock value. Not traditional horror that has to do with something demonic or anything like that.
No.
Just you know,
They were saying that her intensity in the movie
yes, it was just like
made people like
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
yeah, no, it because you could see like wow, like I'm looking at Octavia. I like her as an actress. I
Yeah,
like
Octavia
the
Spencer's
roles that she's played in
amazing.
them. I'm looking at her sideways because I'm thinking like, can you really go this dark?
She's a
Like
great
remember last
actress,
week we were
man.
talking about what we would be like unhinged if we.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of her. Like and remember, I'm afraid of Octavia Spencer like right now. And
All
then
right.
and then I also saw. So for me it was The Hustle. I saw Ma, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Angel Has Fallen, and then I saw Long Shot, also, which is a comedy with Seth Rogen and
Yeah.
Charlize Theron. Loved it.
Loved it. All right.
Loved it. Great.
Really,
great.
you did?
Yeah, I loved it.
They lost me when she picked him. When she actually decided to pursue it. But definitely with the video.
I loved the video. It was,
They had, I was trying to go along.
oh boy!
I was trying to go along with it, but realistically,
Come on.
a career, and I guess this is where just logic kicked in for me. A career politician would not have made that choice.
But I guess
Not
that's,
with that video out there. There's no
but
way.
there was nothing about the video that was scandalous other than the fact that it was a video. Like it's their own.
no
it was his own video, you know. And on top of it, he was hacked. It wasn't like he was out there like doing whatever. But whatever. That's too far
yeah.
into it. But listen, I really liked it. It was funny.
Yeah.
You know, it had me laughing, had me cracking up, it had me rooting for the two of them to get together, you know, and you know, I just enjoyed it.
It
Sounds
changed
had an
my.
ambitious week, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds so like 6 movies, man.
And then-
I'm also like, well, when did you do this?
Remember, you guys were away for a good you know, and then I also rewatched Pulp Fiction today.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, did you rewatch it because you saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yes.
Damn, that says
Yes.
a lot. That says a lot.
Yeah, because I wanted to go back to the beginning, you know, with Quentin Tarantino, and
Right.
just he's so young in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like it's crazy.
You know, question is Once Upon a Time in any way seem like he's trying to make it part of his like you know how everything's now a universe,
Yeah.
and everybody's saying all of his movies
I
are the
didn't
same.
get that feel. That's kind of why I went back to
Because
Pulp
this is the
Fiction.
first, like I just thought of that. Like,
Like I was just going back to it to see if there was some
Right, maybe a character or something or a
or
line.
some link or something. No,
Nope.
Yeah.
I was hoping that in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I would have gotten some sort of hint as to what was in the case.
Right.
So that's why I went back to see, like, is there something that I can use to connect?
Was he in that one too? Was he in Once Upon a Time?
I didn't see him.
No,
I didn't see him.
I heard he had a small role where like he just kind of like walked by or did something in. Once Upon a Time in
I
Hollywood.
didn't catch him.
Yeah.
I really didn't catch him. But yeah, no, I looked back at Pulp Fiction and loved it even more.
All right. All right, that's cool, man. So that was that was this week in movies with all of us here. Now I guarantee I will watch a movie this week for sure.
I can hopefully see.
Well,
one.
I'm driving to your house after this so I can get it from you.
Definitely, because next week we're gonna be doing It Chapter 2 prep. So that's gonna be awesome and scary. It's great. So listen, we're gonna be doing the It Chapter 2 next week, and then I was gonna say something. Oh, I promised to get you guys Intruders, a review for Intruders this week also, because I got that in the mail. So I'm gonna try to watch that. I've actually held on to it for like 3 weeks, but I'm gonna watch it finally. this
Oh,
week,
you're gonna
Intruders.
Intruder. That's the
That's
one.
the one with
Dennis
Michael
Quaid.
Ealy and
Oh yeah, we
Dennis
saw
Oh,
Quaid.
I saw that.
Make
I
it
saw that
good.
as well.
Oh,
Yep.
you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it.
It was
I'm
good.
looking forward to
It
it,
was
man.
good.
That was the one that last week I couldn't remember the movie that I saw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was
Gotcha.
okay.
It was okay.
It was okay.
I'm looking forward to seeing it, man. I love Megan Good and Michael Ealy. I think
Yo,
they're great.
Dennis Quaid definitely impressed me in that movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He did because I didn't know that he could be like that
Yeah.
either. Like
I didn't even know he was in that shape.
He was dark
Yeah.
too. Yeah, that too. I was like, oh,
I did
shit.
not know he was in shape
Yes.
like that.
Impressed.
He's on the
Yeah.
salmon ladder. Like, what happened there? Hanging out with Stephen Amell. Like,
Well, I mean, you guys did say they have been doing a lot with CGI lately, so.
All right. Oh man, crazy man. So that's it for this week in the movie news, and we'll try to get some movies out there for you guys this next week also. So now we're gonna get into D23. D23 happened on Friday and
Part
Saturday. Comic-Con too.
Wow.
You know, I heard it wasn't as a big of a deal as Comic-Con.
No, it's just all about Disney stuff.
Yeah, man. It was more about the Disney Plus stuff that's coming out, which kind of affects the movies. You know, we try to stick to just the movie stuff here, but
It seems like they're mini movies.
right, because it's tied into these stories
They're
now.
tying into the movies. You know, they're making more stories from these movies. So it's really interesting concept because it's not just a TV show now,
Right.
Like what we had on Netflix. They're kind of like mini movies that are really important to our MCU timeline now.
Right, and it says whatever happens on these stories is going to affect the movies as well.
Yeah.
So they'll introduce these characters such as She-Hulk,
Yeah.
Moon Knight, and Miss Marvel.
Yeah, along with the other ones we already had, Hawkeye, WandaVision,
All this stuff.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then the Marvel What If. Like, I mean, I know the What If doesn't have anything, but that's 6 shows right now.
Exactly, and if you guys weren't getting Disney Plus, probably gonna get it now.
Oh,
So,
definitely.
That sounds pretty affordable, so
I mean, it's just insane. But
Once I
like,
can get it through my Amazon Prime subscriptions there.
there you go.
oh, you
But
actually
also-
can't get it through Amazon.
So you have to download the Disney.
You have to get it through another platform other than Amazon.
Yeah.
Because
What can
The
I get it to my
Xbox-
Fire Stick though?
No,
Xbox,
because Amazon.
PlayStation,
Oh,
Apple.
the Apple.
Well, I do have the PlayStation, so I can
Yeah.
get it. I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
get it.
Probably get it
Yeah,
from
they
there.
got some beef, Amazon and Disney, so
Oh,
not on
Jesus.
Amazon.
But I mean, what's your guys' take? I mean, granted, they didn't say much. They just said that these characters coming. Listen, I personally don't know too much about Moon Knight, and I also don't know much about She-Hulk. I do know who Miss Marvel is, and it's going to be an interesting take to bring
that's
her back
actually
onto
exactly
the
what I'm
screen
thinking,
there. So I
because
can't wait to see that.
It's not Miss Marvel, not the one you're thinking.
No, it's
not
Ms. Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
No, it's a Ms.
Camilla
Mar-
Khan.
No,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Camilla
okay,
Khan.
okay.
Because I've never seen. If you guys don't know her powers are kind of like almost like Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's just like they're gonna have to really like they've been keeping pretty much everything realistic somewhat,
Yeah.
except for Iron Man's suit. That's a little ridiculous that everything just shows up, right? So, but with her powers, it's more of a mutant or mutation power.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting to see how they do that.
Especially with kind of the most recent addition of having a Captain Marvel, you know, so
Yeah.
and it's one of those things where the two of them have linked up, you know, obviously they have the Marvel name.
Because she's inspired
you
by
know.
her. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the whole thing with Camilla Khan's backstory. So it's interesting to have introduced her this early. I'm
Right.
thinking, you know, especially with what Captain Marvel has set up in terms of Monica Rambeau and everything like that. Like you have another Captain Marvel character within her universe already, so to have almost 3 Captain Marvel characters
Right.
already show up and have some kind of prominence in this series, it's gonna be interesting to
man.
have this like this.
It's gonna be interesting to see. Now, Assange, for you, man, out of those 3 movies, or 3 shows, I guess, is there anyone that stands out for you more, like She-Hulk, Moon Knight, or Miss Marvel?
I would say more She-Hulk,
Right.
just because of the connection to Hulk.
I would love to see who they're gonna get to play her.
Yeah, and it was Bruce Banner's cousin, right?
I mean, they may do something different with the Marvel universe, but
Yeah, they've rewritten
Yeah.
characters
Yeah.
and backstories, and I mean and sticking close to the character, but
And she's a lawyer.
Who's She-Hulk? or-
She-Hulk was a lawyer. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's Bruce Banner. They said they are doing Bruce Banner's cousin, and that she is getting her
Okay.
powers through blood transfusion. So
Oh wow.
that, I don't know if they're gonna bring Mark Ruffalo in for the
That
episode,
would-
They're gonna have
That's
to.
or
right?
if it's
Crazy
gonna have
cool.
already happened. I mean, I don't know how they're gonna do it.
I got you. Now, Al, for you, man, is She-Hulk one of the movies you're looking for, or shows you're looking for, or Moon Knight, or Miss Marvel? Because I don't personally know anything besides Moon Knight. All I know is Moon Knight's supposed to be the Marvel version of Batman. That's all I always
Basically,
hear
yeah.
about
Yeah.
that.
I mean, I'm looking forward to all of them, actually. The way they all sound to be coming off and interplaying into one another. So I just want to see how they do that universe on the small screen. And I'm glad they're actually tying them in together, unlike what they did with Daredevil. And because you got all invested, you watched 3 seasons of multiple shows, and then they just
And it's
deaded
actually
them.
really
Like they had
interesting.
nothing. There was no
Right.
interplay.
They don't even. If you've seen any of the trailer stuff that they've released already from D23 or anything that's kind of leaked, the quality on these series, you know, the silver screen series, are incredible. You
They're
know,
using the same
they're really
cinematographer
making
Yeah.
them
they
look
use.
like
and they're using the same
movies.
format too.
Yeah.
You know,
It
episodic
used to be two
movies.
different formats for silver screen and
Exactly.
I mean, they're saying WandaVision's supposed to be 6 episodes, but like you know, if you're looking at the quality of what you're seeing, I'm plenty okay with seeing something like that. You know, I mean, The Mandalorian alone. If you've seen the
Oh
trailer
my
for
God,
that,
yeah.
it was beautiful.
Actually, I was going to bring that over to Al, actually, man,
Yeah.
because that's something that stood out to me was The Mandalorian.
Oh yeah.
That trailer looked like a trailer for a movie, not a show.
Oh,
That-
Yeah, no,
gorgeous,
great.
and it was great.
Oh yeah. No, but now, being that they're now making him the protagonist of the show, like are they gonna do with him for the show what they did with Venom for the movie? Are they gonna now adapt him as a
Is it Boba Fett?
anti-hero? Yeah, it's Boba Fett.
Is it Boba Fett? I thought we were doing maybe another Mandalorian.
Well, I'll
I didn't
check,
know.
but
I don't
it
think
looked
it's
like
Boba.
Fett.
It's a Mandalorian is their, I guess their
It's like
Their race?
their race maybe. I'm not even
Well, they
sure.
were
if that's-
clones.
But
No,
that,
Boba
but the
Fett-
Mandalorian,
No, no,
Boba
Jango
Fett.
Fett wasn't a clone. Okay.
Yeah.
Boba Fett was a clone.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but the Mandalorians is an actual like almost like a tribe kind of thing, and they all wear those different types of helmets and that
Okay.
style of look and
Okay.
everything like that.
That's why I was like, I was.
'Cause that was
wondering
my
if it Boba
fear. I
Fett,
was
'cause
like,
thought
oh,
it was
come
Boba
on,
Fett,
yeah.
and I was like, I don't know if they're doing Boba Fett
Yeah.
again, but
Yeah, I don't know if I could call them a race if it's just their costume, right? Like they all wear the same helmet.
I mean, maybe that's what their race or tribe does, you know.
Right.
So
I say
Yeah.
tribe would probably be the best thing that we could
Probably.
go with for
Yeah.
the moment. You know?
But it looked fantastic. Man.
Oh,
it just
forget it,
looked
looked
great.
incredible.
And especially like you know, you saw a side of Star Wars that you don't get from the movies in the
Right.
trailer alone.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like a whole different universe, you know.
Yeah, it was a whole new universe, but it felt like we've been there before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was awesome. It was perfectly done, man. And then something else that they said really quick back on the MCU type of thing. The characters from different movies are showing up in some of the WandaVision thing.
Yeah.
They got Kat Dennings, who was in Thor.
Yeah, she's gonna be in there as the same
It's
character.
the same character.
It's
Yeah.
insane. And then also Randall Park is going to be back. He was the FBI agent in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, I love Randall Park. He's hilarious.
So again, it's coming off to me. It's more than just a show. It's literally like a movie.
It's,
Yeah.
it's an
It's
extension of the
basically-
MCU.
Basically, movies.
Which is good. I'm glad that they're making everything fit in the universe. The fact that they've taken the time to build that universe and now make it all
And I'm
make it all fit.
interested because the gentleman who played the scientist in the Thor movies, I forget his name. But
Selvig.
Selvig. He's
Played
got
by,
one more movie.
I think Peter Skarsgård. It was one of the Skarsgårds.
Yeah, it was one of the Skarsgårds. He's got one more movie under his contract.
Oh,
all right.
Yeah,
Well, listen, if he's gonna show up into these shows,
that's what I'm thinking. It's gonna be one of these shows, or
Yeah.
maybe elevate into Thor: Love and Thunder. So I mean, that'd be great.
All right, man. And then what else did I see on there? There was a couple of posters they put out. They put a new Star Wars poster out
Yeah.
there and a new Black Widow poster for the movie coming out in May.
So what are your thoughts on Black Widow?
Listen, the poster showed me a red Captain America.
Yeah, the Red Guardian.
Yeah, that looked pretty cool,
Yeah.
and it just looked like a different feel. There is something different about it that doesn't make it look like the normal MCU.
Is it too late though?
You know what, man? I think we discussed that before. I think, yeah, I think they should have done this a lot sooner. Granted, I'll take it because it's Marvel and it's the Black Widow.
Yeah.
I want to see it. I'm gonna see
We're
it.
gonna see it. We're gonna see it.
But personally, it would have been nice to like have this story to kind of build up the legend of who she is. So when she gave her life, it's even a bigger deal.
right.
Yeah.
Because
Because
it was
we
a
didn't-
it was
we
a
didn't
big
get-
deal.
We didn't get a lot. We didn't get a lot of her. I mean, she was in the movies. She was an Avenger, but we didn't go. The only time they really went deep into her backstory was when her and Bruce Banner were having the conversation about her origins and the fact
Yeah.
that she can't have children and everything. That's when we got real flashbacks to
Who she is
who she
and-
is, and
yeah.
why she's there and how she got there, and then them talking about the things that she's done in her past and everything. That build up, that payoff of her death would have been so much more with that movie having occurred already.
Yeah.
And I feel like they robbed us of that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And Al, man, for you, man. I mean, did you see the poster for Star Wars?
Yeah.
You see the Emperor back there?
Yeah. Yeah. That's one thing.
There's a lot of rumors.
Yeah, too
Well,
many.
no, that's
rumors.
not even a rumor. Now they put him in the poster.
Well,
so
no, there's a rumor that
it's her?
That Rey is a clone.
of him.
That there is a clone of Rey for him to take the body.
Is that what the because okay?
Is that
guys,
what the
so
Red Eye Ray is?
Yeah.
So apparently they did a trailer at the D23, and one of the big things that popped off on this thing that came out on the internet afterwards was there was an image of Rey holding a lightsaber that was red,
Yeah.
and then she pressed
and it
the
was
button,
double-sided like Darth Maul.
and
yeah.
then it was
Yeah.
a double-sided red. So what Brandon's trying to say right now is that there's two Reys or there's one Rey and she goes to the dark side.
yeah.
And then Kylo Ren becomes the savior.
Who knows, man? And that's where
Okay,
And that's
I'm
what
gonna
the-
defer to you, Al, on how you would feel about that.
That's what I'm saying. That's what just bringing.
I was looking worried.
Yeah, no, I am. I'll be honest, I am, and it's because to bring back the Emperor, you're going like I don't know where you're going with this, like
Right.
and you're gonna have to do this all in one movie, and I know J.J. Abrams. It sounds like he's trying to undo a lot of Last Jedi, but it's gonna be It sounds like it's gonna try to. I hope he can pull it off, but it sounds like too much to do in one movie.
Right.
Because how do you have? You left off Rise Last Jedi as if Rey was it. That was it. Rey,
Right.
She had become a Jedi. She,
The last one almost.
Yeah, and then you have the.
She looks like she's more powerful than Luke.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So now to have her go to the dark side just to come back, or now you're gonna switch and then she becomes the bad guy and
But I think what
Kylo
Brandon's saying
is
that
the
there's,
good guy.
there's two Reys.
Even worse. That'll make it, in my opinion, that'll make it even worse.
I got
if
you.
if you bring in clones
What
and
if
all
what
that.
if there's a whole line of clone of Rey? Like maybe that was like when Kylo Ren said search your feelings, like you came from a family that dumped you onto this planet kind of a thing. Like what if she was a clone that got dumped on a planet because
Wow.
she had imperfections or something,
Wow.
right?
That's deep, man.
Mm.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, listen, we got until December for Star Wars there, so
I mean, but we pretty much all agree. Like they have fucked up Star Wars, right?
it's not Ryan Johnson. Jesus.
he made a good movie.
Yeah, but there's a group of people that like he said I want to do this, and they like co-signed. Like,
Yeah,
So there's
they did.
there's a some they out there that made this happen, right?
He goes, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make a movie where every 5 seconds you think something's gonna happen. I'm gonna do the opposite.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And when you think I'm gonna do the opposite, I'm not. And then I'm gonna do the opposite next scene.
The problem is if you weren't invested in Star Wars, and just took Last Jedi by itself, it's a good movie. But when you incorporate the story of
And
the
the fan
previous
base
8,
that
yeah,
follows every notes.
and again, I think I said
And
this
like
in
the
one of our
animated
earlier-
series
Yeah.
tie-in and everything.
I
Which is
mean-
coming back.
If you go to one of what I think I said this in one of our earlier episodes. If I understand he wanted to do something different, and he just brought it up I think recently. He's still making his trilogy in the Star Wars universe. Do that in your trilogy. You don't take a 9-movie arc about a Skywalker family and basically
So
kill
they were
them
building.
off.
So they were
Yeah.
building an arc, and he came in for the last third
And he
of
destroyed it.
So
and he
there
made
was-
and he made a square.
Dude, but that's why that's the genius of Kevin Feige. Feige. There.
Is he an apple?
That's the genius of him, man. He has this one story, and he has everyone pretty much follow the through lines. You can do what you want to do with that, but just you got to hit these notes, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why it all works. It all works, man.
Like they could have taken if they had kept Luke alive.
Yes.
Like don't have him die at the end. Maybe have him collapse, and then you build up the beginning of the new one, like him recovering, and then he sacrifices himself, and in sacrificing himself, hands over the reins to Rey, and then Rey becomes your trilogy.
Was it just me, or was
That
that
just
really
gives you
cheesy?
so
How
long.
he like fought from like a galaxy away, almost.
Well, that was their justification for him dying without actually having fought. Was that the strain of that projection is what killed him? Or
But like, did you? As a Star Wars fan, someone who really loves Star Wars, did you like that?
I didn't like it because they messed up in at least one spot that I'm able to recall off the top of my head. Was when he gives Leia Han's dice.
Mm.
So if he's a projection,
How's
how
he
did
giving
he
it-
physically give her dice?
Right.
You know, so that's where, in my opinion, like they tried too hard to throw us off that he was just a projection. That it to me, I can't forget that scene now when I
Right.
watch it.
Exactly.
And again, it just, to me, I enjoyed the movie. It was good. It was in terms of a standalone, but you got to take out the casino scene. Like, I don't know why that's there.
That was the most waste of
That
time.
was the biggest, dumbest. Like,
Maybe it was their answer to like the cantina
I don't know
scene.
if that's like a.
but the
okay, go
cantina
to
scene
the-
had a purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, go to the bathroom. I don't know if that's what this is for, so you can go to the bathroom, not miss anything, come back. Because you can cut that whole part out.
And
It
the story
doesn't-
was still.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
works. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping for. Is like, if you're gonna kill off Luke and the Skywalker family is the main part of what these 9 movies are all about. You really got to do a good recovery job with this last one, and you only got maybe, let's give it 3 hours. You got 3 hours to do all that.
Yeah, it's insane, man. And listen, the one thing that would have made that movie better for me in Last Jedi is had Luke actually been there and fought that battle.
Yeah,
But I don't understand how he says he's trying to do something different when they're basically mimicking the first trilogy.
Well,
with they're
not
building
them,
another.
the second movie didn't do that. The first movie with
with J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams, they
It was
definitely did
it was
that.
like a
It was
mirror
like
of A New Hope.
Yeah,
Right.
And
pretty
that's why
much.
everybody was joking that it was like almost step
And
for
I
step.
think
to New
that's
Hope.
what even led Ryan Johnson to do what he did too, because he thought everybody was just we're just gonna do the Empire Strikes Back. He goes, nah, we're doing this way, and it's kind of good because I get where he's coming from. You know, he wanted to make something different where you didn't expect what was gonna happen the next scene. But at the same time, man, it was just too far off the reservation, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna kill off Snoke and not even let us know who the hell he was.
Yeah, with the whole build
Come
up.
on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
A good arc could have been you bring Luke back. He's already disgruntled. He's lost his, he doesn't want to, he disconnected himself from the Force and all that. A good story arc could have been having Rey inspire him to come back and train. And that, okay, you know what, you messed up in the past, or there was, things didn't go right in the past with the last group of Jedi you were training, but now you got a new student, bring them into the mix, bring in these new guys into the mix, have Luke sacrifice himself in 9 and hand off the reins to Rey to build up the Jedi Force.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that would have been a good story arc that they could have made work.
They're over here paying Ryan Johnson. They should pay you, Al.
Like, why would you
I'm
kill
with
that?
it.
That's what I'm saying. Why would you kill
I'd
him?
watch movies that Al makes.
Yeah, man. And then in other news, man, for D23, for Brandon and Sanj, man, Kid Harington got a job.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
He got
He's
a
happy.
job.
He's happy. He's got a job.
His therapist isn't.
They're like, oh man,
there goes
my
my
paycheck.
paycheck.
No, if I was his therapist, I'd be like, cool. Go make some more money because you'll be sad when that one's over.
Well, so who is he playing now in the Eternals?
Well, I was saying there's a rumor.
Black
right?
Knight.
Because the Black Knight was in a relationship with Cersei. That's Cersei's love interest.
Oh.
So I guess it makes sense.
I know nothing of the Eternals.
We will all find out.
But he's not an Eternal, though, right?
No, he's not an Eternal. He was like a regular hero, and he ends
Alright.
up like being a part of the Avengers, and at some point, some iteration of the Avengers. But he's like Cersei's love interest,
Okay.
you
I'm
know, and they
interested in
keep
seeing
finding each other or finding a way back to each other in some capacity.
it. Yeah.
So maybe that could be.
But then
interesting.
also James Madsen, who played
he's one of the lead
who
Eternals.
played Rob Stark, is also. So they're teaming up again.
Man. I think
The
he
North.
got him the
No,
job.
to be fair, for the few scenes that they did have together in Game of Thrones, their chemistry was pretty good. They really pulled it off that they were brothers.
Yeah.
And you could tell that they had, they really worked well on screen together. That they portrayed a good relationship. And for anybody that knows Game of Thrones, like Jon Snow's like the bastard son, and Rob Stark was the heir apparent.
Right.
So you would figure those two would be rivals, if nothing else. And they were really good to each other, and that came out. So I'm excited for that because that relationship will come out in anything they do. I'm hoping.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, I'm looking forward to see it. I trust you guys. You guys always talk good about what was it, Jon Snow?
Jon Snow.
So we'll see how Jon Snow
Problem
does
is,
in
he
MCU.
knows nothing.
No, nothing, Justin. Gets on set. Jon Snow. I mean, Kit.
Kit.
Sorry, Kit. Kit Snow.
Yeah, man. And then some other stuff that came out
Kid Snow.
in the news there was they finally revealed who's playing Cruella. We got Emma Stone.
That's
such
cool.
Such a cutie.
I'm trying to see where Disney's going with this anti-hero storyline for villains. They did it with Maleficent.
You know what it is, man? I think the world's getting tired of the too good, perfect hero that doesn't really exist. And it's just
True.
I guess everybody's an anti-hero now.
Well, nah, because too often the goody two shoes has turned out to be the villain behind the scenes.
Right.
You know.
So it's interesting, but I'm interested in seeing how the first trailer plays off for
probably see
Cruella.
it. They got Lady and the Tramp.
Are they making a live action?
They
For
did. They
Disney
showed a
Plus.
trailer for it too, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Because if they fuck that up as bad as they fucked up the Lion King, I'm gonna be really upset because I really like Lady and the Tramp.
Oh, talking about Lion King, just knocked out Black Panther from top 10.
I don't care how much.
Really?
I don't care how much money it makes. I really don't care. They
Yeah.
still fucked it up. Like you know what I mean? Like
I still gotta see that one too,
This guy
man.
can't feel the love tonight.
I know, right?
Zing!
All right, you guys, man. So that's gonna be it for today, man. We talked about the news that came out this week, D23, and some of the movies we've seen this week. And if you guys are on our Instagram page, you guys would have seen the Black Widow poster that just came out, the Star Wars poster that came out as well. So, guys, find us on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. And you can always reach us at therealfanreview.com or therealfanreview@gmail.com. Send us a note, send us a question, or send us a theory or a topic you want us to discuss, and we'll definitely, talk about it on the next podcast there. So signing off for today, we got B, Sanj, Al, myself, and we got a guest co-host today, Nina, who did great. We'll see you guys next week for the It Chapter 2 prep. There we go.